find comfort, especially as like in my career, like going internationally, going different places where things can be so different and so uncomfortable. Having finding comfort and stability in a routine, I think, allows for repeat performances.
I got that dog in me, yeah. Turn me up. Big energy, got the crowd going nuts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Wrestle Her podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Brenton, and today I am joined by special guest Mallory Velte. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been a great camp with you so far. It's day 2 of 3, so we're almost there, like halfway, a little more. So yeah, it's been a great day.
It's been really good. I know the girls are super happy to have you, and you're teaching them a lot. So
thanks. Yeah, so far so good. A couple injuries, but I think that happens with the territory.
Those injuries were prior to camp, so it's okay. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I do a lot. I just took a new job with Beat the Streets Los Angeles as the Associate Director of Mentorship and Programming, but I'm still living in Corvallis, Oregon, where I train out of the Beaver Dam RTC. So I'll be making the move to LA in the next 6 to 8 months. I haven't quite decided when. And aside from that, I'm the wrestling representative for Team USA Athletes Commission. So I represent men's freestyle, Greco-Roman, and women's wrestling for that, and sit on the board of USA Wrestling. And I've coached in college. I just finished a season at Pacific University as assistant coach there for the women's team. And before that, I was assistant at Southern Oregon University. So been doing a lot, training.
Yeah. And you still wrestle yourself?
Yeah, kind of undecided, but I'm leaving the door open, but and seeing where life takes me.
Okay. How did you get involved in wrestling?
I wanted to start in middle school. Actually, I asked to be on the team, and they were like, no girls, only boys on the team. So I didn't wrestle. I played basketball, and then I went to high school, and I was playing basketball, and I was doing the basketball conditioning on the track, and I was wrestling with one of my teammates, like horsing around after, and the wrestling coach saw it, and they're like, you should join wrestling. They had one other girl on the team, so it's been history since. I loved it. It was so hard, obviously, like my starting freshman year, wrestling. Some boys, mostly girls, California sanctioned girls wrestling my sophomore year of high school. So, but it never looked back once I started.
Yeah. Were your parents okay with you joining?
No, my mom was like, no, absolutely not. Not a wrestling family. So
how did you?
I had to push.
Yeah.
I sent her to the parent meeting that the coach had, and she told him all of her concerns about ugly ears and those kinds of things.
Yep.
And then he's like, no, they wear headgear. And then in college, I got cauliflower, but it was worth it, I guess. Yeah, worth it now. Yeah,
good. So you grew up in California. How was it having a girls wrestling team while the rest of the nation didn't?
Yeah, it was great. I couldn't imagine growing up in a different environment, especially starting late. I think if you start early, you can kind of keep up with the boys.
Yeah.
But starting late, it was great to have like similar level competition, and then also have like lots of girls and women to look up to in the area.
Right.
Like it's kind of a small world because Marcy Van Duzen was coaching at Menlo at the time, so I used to go to her camps, and now she's Lane living in Wyoming.
Yeah.
So it's been great.
Nice. I didn't actually know that, so that's kind of cool. Growing up, you went to high school and wrestled, middle school wrestled, and then where'd you go to college?
I went to Simon Fraser in Vancouver, British Columbia. They were a strong team. They had just won nationals my senior year of high school. And that was the track that I was looking towards, was to get exposed like that. And so I went to Simon Fraser, and they had a great group of college girls, but then also senior level athletes training there. So I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It became like an immediate training partner for world silver medalist and 2-time Olympian Danielle Lepage.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't get a takedown for like my first, 6 months, 8 months I was there wrestling with her on the regular basis. And then she took me in 2016 to be her training partner at the Rio Olympics. So that was a great experience.
Yeah. What year did you graduate high school?
I graduated high school in 2013.
Okay.
And then graduated college in 2018. That's the year I won my first world medal.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get on that team?
Yeah, so 2017 was my first, it's just like small world. 2017 was my first world team, and the person I had in the final of the world team trials was Jen Page, who was also just here.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, just here doing the Wyoming camp. It's a very small world, and she's also from the Sacramento area, California. And then in 2018, I lost at the U.S. Open. The winner of the U.S. Open went to Final X. That was the first year they tried Final X out, and so I had to go through World Team Challenge, win that, and then I won best 2 of 3 against Kayla Miracle in the Final X for 2018 World Team. And in 2017, I went to the World Championships and lost my first round and was out. And so in 2018, I knew kind of like what I was up against was going to be super hard and different and challenging. So, yeah, I was able to stumble through and win a bronze at that tournament. So that was a great experience.
Yeah. What other accomplishments have you done through your wrestling career?
Yeah, when I was in college at Simon Fraser, I wasn't necessarily like a top recruit coming out of high school or anything, so I still had a lot of growing to do. I finished 4th at nationals my first year, which sounds good, but when you're at Simon Fraser, that's like not that good because like, my team was very good. So, and then I ended up tearing my ACL, having to sit out a year, and I came back to win nationals my final 3 years of college.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then after 2018, I had a little bit of like a lull. Was ramping back up for the Olympics, and then COVID happened, had a surgery, and then was able to find myself in a great situation at the Beaver Dam RTC, and that's where I was able to like make a true comeback and win another medal in 2022 at the World Championships.
Okay. What kind of steps did you take to achieve all of that success?
I don't know if I've ever really taken deliberate steps. I just kind of like trust my gut and like take leaps of faith. So yeah, and trust the people around me. So yeah, I think I have a good like gauge of people's character, and so when I like met my coach Nate Engel, who was coaching at Oregon State and brought me out to that RTC, I knew I could trust him. And once you can trust somebody, I think you can work through like anything.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Yeah.
So you're working with some athletes too. You come to clinics and camps and do things like that for these kids out here. So what kind of clinics do you put on, or camps do you put on, or do you just get invited to go run?
Yeah, this is the 3rd year. We'll host one at the Beaver Dam RTC for girls. It's coming up in August.
Okay.
And that's like the only one I've had experience hosting. For the most part, I just go out when anyone asks, and my schedule allows, and it all makes sense. Somewhere between depends on my schedule, 5 to 10 clinics usually a year.
Okay.
Some are camps where I'm here for a couple days, but most are 1 day, 2-session clinics type of deal. So
okay.
Yeah, and then I've been really fortunate to be selected to coach this upcoming U17 World Team.
Okay.
And last year I went to the U15 Pan Ams in Panama. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to work with those ladies as well.
Yeah, wrestling's giving you some cool experiences and things to
cool.
do.
Yeah, it keeps you busy, that's for sure.
Yes, no, I hear you. Yeah. You go to a lot of different camps. What kind of age groups do you work with? All over?
I always think that the age group I'm working with is my favorite age group. So I used to think college women was my favorite age group, and then I coached the U15. I'm like, ooh, this is my favorite age group. And then these women, and I took a trip with Beat the Streets to Boston with a group of high school age. So I like all ages, but I'm excited to have a new experience with Beat the Streets, with working from ground zeros or people who haven't touched the sport before, and starting them from scratch. I think that's going to be a really cool experience too.
Yeah, I think that would be too. Yeah. How do you put your practice plans together for each camp that you go to?
I have a few things that I like to show, which, funny enough, I haven't shown at this camp, but because it depends on where the campers are at. So if they're preparing for a tournament, it's a little bit different than if it's just the middle of summer, they don't have anything going on. Then I can get a little bit more funky with it, with upper body stuff. But generally, I want campers and coaches to get the most out of me being there. So if I can show positions that I've just learned in my adulthood that aren't super common, or most coaches aren't as confident about, I'm happy to work on, and I'm also open to being directed by the coaches, whatever they think the athletes would benefit the most at. When I was coaching at Southern Oregon, I never intended to have that job really. I did a clinic in the area, and the assistant coach from the university came and watched and said these are the things that we need on our college team. Will you help coach? So yeah, I'm happy to take the lead. Yeah.
Nice.
Exactly.
So do you coach a lot of coaches then too?
I haven't had a ton of experience doing that, but I will be with this Be the Streets role. It's going to be a lot of making programming and doing coaches education and stuff like that. And yeah, it'll be a new challenge. But a lot of wrestlers and coaches, I think, it's a different era. I think everybody, including myself, is interested and open to new things. And I think in the past it wasn't that environment at all.
No, yes,
especially
I agree.
Male coaches learning from a female athlete is. But now it's they want to know, and they're open, and there's no ego or discomfort. So that's great.
I know you were at that leadership summit with all those coaches there, and that was the first time that they announced the teal course.
Yeah.
And some of those coaches, man, they were just like, I don't know about this. It's the same as coaching a boy, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's differences. And, you got to learn how to figure out how to deal with a girl when she bleeds through a wrestling singlet, or have those conversations. And, girls are a lot of hips and boys are not. Like, they wrestle differently. There's different things that girls do. So, I can only imagine, like, the male closed-mindedness at the beginning of things. There's just a lot, but I think that we've progressed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly. I honestly think that's why Wyoming wasn't sanctioned for so long, is because of that mindset. And I'm so glad that it's different and changing, and we're getting bigger and bigger and having more coaches that are accepting of girls being on the mat. And I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of girls didn't want to wrestle, is because they didn't feel accepted in their room.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I'm hoping to see that transition continues to grow and people keep an open mind.
Yeah, and then I think once coaches jump into it, they're like just as on board as anyone else. Yeah, it's just that little bit of discomfort.
Yeah, and it is going to be uncomfortable at the beginning, but once you get past that, then you become really good friends with those people, and you're their mentors, and they trust you, and you build that bond. And it's hard to be coached by a coach that you don't trust. So
impossible, I would say.
Yes,
for me at least. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But sounds like you're teaching a lot of people things. How are you enjoying camp so far?
I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm enjoying it. This is my first time getting a team ready for Fargo, and I think it's been a really cool experience to see and like try to reflect on my own experience getting ready for Fargo, like what I liked and maybe what I didn't like so much, and read the room and address that. So I don't just like have my own ideas about how things are going to go, but take cues from the group, and it's been going great. The girls are very responsive, and they've all been really open to everything, so it's been great.
Yeah, they love having you in there. What are some things that you hope that they take from you being there?
I think the mental side of things, and the wrestling stuff, it either sticks or it doesn't. So I try to like move through the sequence of practice. Because I know myself, like, you can't learn, like, everything we show during practice.
Right.
So, we might as well only waste, like, 3 minutes instead of, like, 35 or something like that.
Yeah.
But, I hope they take some mental aspects. I hope when talking about their goals, I think some of them are not as confident as I wish they would be. And I hope that they can, just gain a little bit of confidence and, like, trust themselves and set their goals higher even for, like, next year.
Right.
And build Wyoming wrestling in this little room that we have going right now.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. I hope they definitely retain everything, but I don't think they will. But the moves that you've shown are great. You're teaching me some things, so that's good for me too. Just being in that wrestling room, you're keeping it positive, and honestly, your warm-ups are super interesting. I've never seen like warm-ups like that, so I'm gonna definitely steal that and take it to my wrestling room. You're making them really fun, and those girls are definitely responding to how you're teaching things in there, so I love that about it. And then the sports psychology aspect of it is great too. What kind of got you into that field?
Mostly just having like a really great sports psychologist that I worked with, like encouraging me to take that step and get my master's degree in sports psychology. And then I think it's helped me a lot as a coach. And even if I don't go into working in sports psychology at all, it's like been 1,000 times worth it for what I've learned. So I try to give like a lot more positive feedback than like critical feedback, and obviously depersonalize anything. It's not about you, because I know how it feels. And about the warm-ups, a lot of times I try to take those from international camps we go to, because we go there and like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And then you kind of like, oh, I actually liked this.
Yeah, it was fun.
So then I try to bring it back to the U.S. So, and I know what it was like to do the same exact warm-up every day.
Right.
So it can get a little monotonous.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I was like, that's great. I'm gonna steal that. So the sports psychology aspect of things, I know leading up to a national event like Fargo, it's very intimidating to walk into that room and see all those mats and all the kids, and it's a little intimidating, and you kind of get in your head. What would be some things that you are hoping that these girls are going to learn mentally before we go to Fargo?
Yeah, like today we did a little bit of mindfulness and then followed with like a visualization practice because I think, like half the group hasn't been to Fargo before. And so it can be shocking if you haven't been there before. I know from my first experience at Fargo, you're not used to seeing 20-some-odd mats down and all these people and stuff. So yeah, doing a visualization. So it's not like being there, but it is as close as you can get to being there.
Yeah.
And then we started yesterday with goal setting because it was the beginning of the week, just to clarify and set process goals that they can accomplish in practice. And then also once they get to Fargo, things that are fully in their control, because that's how I like to focus on my wrestling when I was competing, is taking control of the things I can control, which is like a small goal, moving my feet, working for a turn every time I'm on top, things like that. And then tomorrow I want to talk about routines and readiness with the group because I talked to them this morning about when I went to Junior Worlds in 2015 in Brazil, and that was one of the first times Spencer Lee had competed internationally, and we all weighed in together, and I saw him eating a Tupperware full of spaghetti after weigh-ins, and I was like, "What the heck is this kid doing? He doesn't know what he's doing.
Right?
This is weird." And then he ends up winning the Junior Worlds, and I'm like, that was probably his routine for readiness.
Yeah.
That's what he's used to, and he didn't let being in Brazil and not having access to a kitchen prevent that from. Yeah. So I wanted to just talk with the group and make sure that they're ready to stick with the routines that they're comfortable with here, like what they would do at local tournaments, and implement them in Fargo so that they can feel at least as comfortable as they can.
Yeah. How important do you think a routine is?
It's the most important thing, I think. One of
to get your mental state there? Or
yeah, to get the mental state, but also just to find comfort, especially as in my career, going internationally, going different places where things can be so different and so uncomfortable. Having finding comfort and stability in a routine, I think, allows for repeat performances. So.
Okay, yeah, I agree. What kind of things did you do to prepare yourself mentally before you were going to school and doing all this stuff?
Yeah, in 2018, my sports psychologist gave me a challenge before the World Championships. Well, she had been telling me for a year ahead of time to meditate, and I was like, oh, whatever. And then she was finally, it's 30 days before the World Championship. Just commit yourself to doing it. You have nothing else to focus on right now, just getting yourself a World. So I took the opportunity to meditate for an hour a day, every day leading to the World Championships, and that's one of my best performances. And so I think that being an integral part of my process helped me achieve flow state and reduce stress as I prepared for big events.
Did you do any type of journaling or anything like that too?
Yeah, definitely. I don't love journaling. I didn't love journaling. I've grown to like it more as I've gotten older. But yeah, I started with just sports related journaling, technique and goals and things like that. And then as I've practiced it, I've grown into more also psychological journaling, bibliotherapy, writing through my feelings, writing through things like that, and that's helped a lot with processing. Do
you still set goals for yourself?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's a good point. I probably could do a better job, honestly, and something I can work on. I think I put so much trust in just the process, trusting my intuitions and taking steps that way. But yeah, I think that's what I've been curious about is as I step into the professional world, how my experiences as an athlete are going to help or are they not going to be of service? Yeah, because it's a little more abstract when I think of goals in my professional career. Yeah, that's a good question.
Do you know what those goals are? Do you have them off the top of your head?
Do I have them off the top of my head? I think it's my goal I think now is just to have a healthy and happy career, but also family balance. I'm very open to also following my husband's career. It's been a lot about me for the last, our whole relationship, 8 years. And so open to what is for me, but then also being able to take a backseat and help him accomplish his career. I say this as I'm making him move to LA.
Yeah. So what does he do?
He markets video games for EA Sports.
Okay.
No, so he's been able to work remote out of Corvallis, luckily.
So he can follow you and you're wrestling everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Help support you.
Yeah, exactly.
So is he a good support system for you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. He goes to all the big tournaments, and yeah, he's a great source of support.
Yeah. What other kind of support systems do you have?
Cleo Lane, he's my not related to Marcy and this group, but Cleo, he's in the Central Valley. He's been my coach since I think I started working with him in 2017, and like he's pretty much like my dad. I love him, and he's been a great support. And then obviously Nate, who I work with, those two are my favorite corner. My husband, my mom, my dog can sometimes be stressful, but also is a good support and like outlet for those feelings. Yeah. But yeah, I keep a pretty like tight group of people who I can trust.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad. Thanks. Did that help you get through like when you were battling coming back from injuries?
Yeah, definitely. And having people who know you and still believe in you, I think is important, and not in like a fake way. But yeah, and Jess Medina, who's the development coach for USA Wrestling, like she was a good source of support. I remember coming back and having a really hard time, and she being like, "There's not a lot of people who can like come back and to the same like accomplishments that they had before, but I think you can do it." And that was something I really needed to hear in 2022 before I was able to make a world team again and go to the World Championships. Yeah,
being able to, have a ACL surgery and then come win 3 titles after that, it's pretty big. So what kind of got you through that with mindset? I know a lot of people get like negative, when they get injured and stuff. How did you stay positive?
No, I was very negative. Yeah. Like I did all the rehab and everything, but I was like mad every day. I was at practice. Yeah. I was mad seeing somebody in my weight class at like tournaments and stuff like that. That wasn't me. So yeah, I think that like hunger really fueled me, and I had like a lot of close matches, and I didn't really know the kind of wrestler I was, or anything. Like I was tough, but I didn't like have a style or anything before that injury. And then after, I was like, oh, if I get on the mat again, like I'm not gonna leave anything to second guess or whatever. I'm not gonna leave it to the ref. I'm not gonna like have a close match. Like I'm gonna wrestle like it's my last match ever, because you don't really ever know when it's your last match ever.
Right.
So that was a really good turning point for me.
You have a closing quote for us.
Yeah.
Would you like to go ahead and say that for me, please?
It's not about what you accomplish. It's about the person you become along the way.
Yes. I wholeheartedly believe in that quote. That's a great quote. Yeah. I think, wrestling is one of the sports that I feel develops kids more than any other sport in a lot of different ways. And, I think that that's important to, become a person that is, respectful of who they're working with or wrestling or coach, their coaches, or, that's a big part of it. And then, believing in yourself is huge.
Yes.
You have to have a lot of mental toughness. And I think that's something that I have learned personally a lot with wrestling is, the mental is so important.
Yes.
So important. It is in every aspect of life, but with wrestling, if you lose, you think you're going to lose, you've lost.
You've already lost.
Yes, so like going out into, these tournaments and stuff, I'm hoping that these girls go into this national tournament like with some confidence, and their mental state is good. So that's something that I'm hoping that they really learn and take away from this camp that you're at, teaching them all these things. So is there any advice that you'd like to give any athletes to help them with their mental state if they are feeling a little less confident than usual?
Yeah, I think that there's power in like not knowing. I don't know if you know Erica Weeb, who won gold in 2016, but she always had a quote that stuck with me, and it was like, I walk into the unknown with the power that like something in me or something like that. So I was like walking into the unknown, but like being okay with that and being open to it. I think there's like a lot of power that we can take from that.
Yeah.
And like it's exciting. Yeah. To like enjoy that, like not knowing. I think like me, and it's all athletes, it's hard not to think about the outcome, but it's not like for us to decide. And I think my best performances have come from the unknown, not necessarily being like, I'm going to win. We don't know if I'm going to win.
Yeah.
There's the unknown. Yeah. So I think just embracing that unknown all the time.
Just having the faith in yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whatever comes, and whatever happens.
Exactly.
So is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to while you're on here?
Be the Streets LA for hiring me and for trusting me in this role as an athlete just coming from a career. I think USA Wrestling has been great. So, I guess those aren't people, but the organizations who have employed me for the last 10 years. But also, like believed in me and helped me become the person I am.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming down and recording with me today. I'm excited to see what these girls are learning for the rest of the camp, and I appreciate you coming and teaching these girls. They are loving having you here.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what else you're going to do in this wrestling world. You've done a lot so far.
Me too. The unknown, we'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks so much. And thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
I can't accept the loss, I'm hard-headed. There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody rob me of my victory. Number one, that's what I'm meant to be. When by any means, only thing that makes sense to me, I can make nice or make history.